Hello beautiful people, my name is Vendi and the world is heating up at an alarming rate and I do not love it. I'm currently in the middle of Europe during this awful heat wave and I'm dying and we're all dying and I am very terrified for the environment at this point in time. In the hopes that it would alleviate my fear for the world, I thought that I would turn climate change into a fun quick tag video for you guys. So today I'm here to bring you the climate change book tag. I was tagged to do the climate change tag by the lovely Emma from Emma Rosen Books, who you should definitely check out, and I'll have her linked in the description box below, along with the creator of the tag, Nashua Reads. So I figure it's best if we just get started. The world's not getting any cooler. So question number one, global warming. What is a book that warms your heart every single time you read it? For this, I have to choose The Little Prince by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. If I've said that wrong, please don't tell me. I did my best. It's just such a whimsical story about keeping a childlike demeanor and loving the world in a very childlike way despite, all of the world being jaded and kind of trying to take that away from you however it can. The Little Prince has forever given me hope that goodness and kindness and whimsy can maintain their place in the world despite all of the crushing, awful bits of reality that are around it. It just gives me hope that no matter how bad it gets, we can always fix things. Question number two, Renewable Energy, a book that increased or renewed your feelings on a certain topic. And for this, I have to say The Hate U Give by Angie Thomas. I read this book at perhaps the best possible point in time for me, and as a pale complexioned, white human being, perhaps, it's like super presumptuous to say, but I was feeling really disheartened by how little a lot of people seem to care about the lives of certain marginalized groups. Like, not to the point where I felt like, damn it, it's time to just be complicit, let the world be how it is. Like, I was still gonna, do stuff about it, but I didn't know what I could do anymore. And after reading The Hate U Give, I sort of just felt empowered in a way to make change, because if all of us feel defeated, well then of course no change is ever gonna happen. But if all of us feel that we can do something, either alone or as a group, then obviously we're going to. Question number three, Ozone Layer. Pick a book that has a very protective friendship in it. For this, I have to say The Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien. I don't think that a better, more protective friendship exists than the two respective friendships of the hobbits, so Merry and Pippin and Frodo and Sam. I think that, if someone's really willing to see the worst in you and still love you and still be there for you no matter what and help you with your burdens, then I think that's a sign of a good friend. And I mean, obviously only if it's reciprocal, otherwise it's, really toxic and you should get out of there. But I think that the depth of the love that they have for each other is just self-evident. I mean, you can't argue that they don't love one another, and they obviously take care of each other. They literally, Sam walked into Mordor for Frodo, and I think that that's just, you don't really get much better than that as far as friendship goes. Question number four, greenhouse emissions. Pick a book with a toxic relationship of sorts inside. So if I may direct your attention to these, Jaime and Cersei should just stay away from each other. I think they bring out the worst in each other, and I think they hinder each other from a lot of positive growth. The moment that they're separated, both of them become, I think, better characters and better people. And I think that that's, one of the hallmarks of a toxic relationship is that they keep you in the worst possible edition of yourself. I'm not saying either of them is perfect. They both definitely have a long way to go before they'd ever reach, good person status. I just think that when they're together, it's worse for everyone around. Question number five is Fossil Fuels, your favorite book from before you were born. And that's very easy for me because my favorite book is Peter Pan by J.M. Barrie, and I just did a video talking about how much I loved it. It was definitely written and published, and movie adaptations were made. And just a bunch of stuff was made before I was born, so I think it definitely counts for that. If you'd like to hear my thoughts on why it matters so much to me, I will link the video where I discuss that in the description box below. Question number six is Cold Wave. Pick a book that has a cooling or relaxing effect on you. And for this, I have to say Howl's Moving Castle by Diana Wynne Jones. I'm pretty sure that's really on brand for me in that any young adult or upper middle grade story with a lot of whimsy and magic and, high stakes, but they're sort of always met and all the ends tie up really nicely. I love that sort of stuff. That's reading is escapism to me, and my favorite sort of escapism is where good wins in the end and there's the potential for dragons and things. There's no dragons as far as I can remember in Howl's Moving Castle, but it's really good anyway and you should read it. Question number 7 is extreme conditions. Pick a book that is set in extreme conditions. As an avid sci-fi fantasy reader, I feel like 90% of the books that I read are set in some pretty serious conditions, like ones that most of us normal folk would never actually be able to survive. But the one that I had to go for this one is actually War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells. Invulnerable aliens come down to Earth to F your S up. I mean, if you think you can survive that, good on you. I definitely know that I couldn't, and I think that that is, you know, some pretty extreme conditions, especially because that book primarily takes place in a really populated city area, so it's not like, you know, The Walking Dead where, you know, you've already got your gun-toting folks who know how to protect themselves. Like, no, these are some city slickers all of a sudden having to survive without like electricity or running water, etc. So yeah, as far as the greatest change in conditions and the most extreme potential future, I think War of the Worlds is, you know, pretty high up there. And finally, question number 8, changing world. Pick a book that scared you for the future. So I'm not a huge fan of ending on a sad note. But with his new book, Imposters, coming up, I think that it's pertinent to talk about the Ugly series by Scott Westerfeld here. Uglies is one of those like, no, I changed my answer before I finish this. I'm gonna say Unwind by Neal Shusterman. I had such a book crush on Neal Shusterman because of this story. Like, Unwind is something I reread pretty regularly. I haven't read the rest of the series just because it was published so far after Unwind and I sort of liked how Unwind ended, but it terrified me as a potential future. The Unwind series takes place in a world where, because of some really intense pro-lifers, can't abort, but if you do want to get rid of an unwanted child, you can sell them for parts, and they are literally unwound, and then their body parts and blood and organs, etc., are grafted onto other people that need them. So someone's in a car accident, needs like a body full of blood. There's a kid that's going to provide that for you and therefore continue living through that person. It's horrifying. It geeks me out to think about. I love the story and you should definitely read it, but like, let's just not. Let's not. And that is it for the climate change book tag. I hope that you're thinking about the environment a little bit now and about what you can do to fix it. I know it's not ever going to be a individual person by individual person thing. The main, you know, people who are ruining the world are massive corporations, and until they're abolished, and that's not going to happen because capitalism, we can just expect a continuation of these horrible changes, but every little bit counts. So please recycle today. Please use renewable energy if you can, and if you can't, just spread the word about it. I tag absolutely everyone watching this to do this tag because I don't think that there's a better time to do it than now. I think we're all really thinking about what's going on with the planet, considering it's affecting a lot of us on a very personal level right now. So if you're watching, I tag you to do the climate change book tag. If you like this video, please leave me a thumbs up, and if you like me, maybe consider subscribing to my channel. But until then, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you with a new video sometime very soon. Goodbye.